Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bible study. My wife and I are settling into our new place. Hopefully the video will be back tomorrow, but we don't need it for today. This will allow us to focus on the text, and this is a great text, I think. I really was kind of refreshed in reading this and studying it. Psalm 65 is just like an expression of pure worship and praise and admiration to God. We've talked a lot about the psalmist needing something, like, maybe they had enemies or something like that, and they were praying to God for help with those. This one just seems to be pure worship, and it's really, really beautiful. So now we can go to our PDF outline here, which you can download on our website at tobelikechrist.com if you want it. We do know that David wrote Psalm 65, and our overarching themes for today: God is worthy of worship, His greatness is known to the end of the earth, and the source of all blessings is God's kindness. A couple definitions. The first one is Zion, which we've seen before. It appears in verse 1. Zion refers to the hill or the mountain where David's palace was built in Jerusalem. This area was on the southeast side of the city. Zion, though, is sometimes used to refer to the city of Jerusalem as a whole. And then we have a new one, and that's in verse 10, furrows. If you're a farmer, maybe you know this one, but a furrow is a trench that's made in the ground by a plow, usually a trench that, seeds are later placed in for growing crops. So there we go, over to page number 2, to our outline. 13 verses, praise is due to God is how I've titled this one. Psalm 65, as I mentioned, is a beautiful psalm of worship. David begins stating that God deserves praise. He's worthy of this worship. He spoke of the blessing that it was for a man to be close to God. God's deeds were awesome. The things that he had done for the past, the things that he had done for the nation of Israel and in other places as well. They were known throughout all the earth. David mentioned several specific reasons that God should be worshipped, and I've listed these here. I've got 8. I guess you could debate exactly how many there are, but I've broken it down into these 8. Number 1, God is worthy of worship because he hears prayers. That's verse 2. He forgives transgressions and sins. He created the mountains. He stills angry seas, and he also stills tumultuous people. So angry waves and angry people, God is able to calm. He orders the sunrise and the sunset each day and manages that and keeps the universe running like a clock. He irrigates the earth with rain and with rivers in verses 9 and 10. He causes the earth to produce a bountiful harvest every year. And then finally, number 8, he blesses livestock to flourish in verse 13. So he blesses the animals being able to reproduce and grow. And the psalm concludes this way in verses 11 through 13, this really beautiful expression: you crown the year with your bounty. Your wagon tracks overflow with abundance. The pastures of the wilderness overflow. The hills gird themselves with joy. The meadows clothe themselves with flocks. The valleys deck themselves with grain. They shout and sing together for joy. Someone should turn this psalm into a hymn, I think. And maybe there is a hymn about it, but it seems like it could really make a beautiful one. If you do know of one, leave it down in the comments, but I'm not aware. So for our application today, this is actually the product of me applying an application from a study a couple days ago. A couple days ago, I had mentioned meditating for just like 10 minutes a day on the greatness of God. I was trying to do that yesterday, and this was kind of what I was thinking about. So this is a product of that, and a little bit different application, I guess. But as the psalmist was talking about God causing the animals to flourish and for the earth to give this abundance, it got me thinking about something I read on the news the other day. Last year, which was 2023, there were approximately 1,000 new species of animals discovered. So 1,000 types of animals had never been seen or discovered or documented on the earth before, which is a ton. And this fact reminded me of God's hidden work, the stuff that he does that we don't see and we're not aware of. You think about this: God created, and he was maintaining these beautiful and these complex creatures for thousands of years without humans knowing anything about them. For generations, he worked in secret to ensure their survival. They have, ecosystems and complex, features, every single one of these animals, and yet God is maintaining all of this. He's doing this in secret, ensuring their survival, and we are blind to all of that work. God didn't feel the need to share it with us or to make us privy to any of it. He's just working away, in great detail in secret. I think that's kind of an incredible thing. All the things God's doing that we can't see. One thing that we know from the words of Jesus is that God cares about us more than he cares about the animals. And so when we think about God working in secret to ensure the survival of all these incredible species, I think this should be reassuring to us and a reminder to us of all of God's work that he does under our noses without us being aware. God cares about your future more than he cares about the future of some obscure species of animals, and yet we see him maintaining those. You can certainly be confident that he's working on your future as well. Now, he may never reveal that work to you. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Either way, you should never doubt and never underestimate what God is doing. The fact is, we are just not qualified with our five senses to be able to know all that God does in his secret work. And it's very possible that his secret work far exceeds the work that's revealed to us. So when it looks like God isn't doing anything, maybe you've been in a place like that in your life, like, oh, God isn't helping me, God's not doing anything, I can't sense, his work in my life. When it looks like God isn't doing anything, remember, this application. He's probably working on something that's more beautiful and more complex than you can even imagine. And knowing about that abundance of secret work, it should cause us to say, well, you know what, maybe I can't see exactly what God's doing, but no doubt he's up to something. And it's going to turn out great in the end.